it's kind of just gotten out of control recently with some of this gun debate stuff that's going on. For example, let me give you some examples here of what I read today that kind of bothers me quite a bit. First of all, this post on Google Plus is hashtagged Fools with Guns. And the title of it is Open Carry Texas Dorks Approach School Children, Tell Them Gun Control is the Same as Jim Crow Era. Well, with me agreeing or disagreeing with what Open Carry Texas does, that's not my concern, because they're practicing their First and Second Amendment rights, and they're doing things within the law here. So I can't really say anything because they're not doing anything criminal. So agree or not, they have that right. And I just find it, first of all, when you're titling an article Dorks and stating hashtag Fools with Guns, you've already got an agenda you're putting out there, and you're labeling these people and insulting them based off a difference of beliefs, which that's ridiculous. And some of the posts on this, they better not approach while open carrying their little penises, I mean weapons, to try to prove they're manly. I don't understand where this masculinity, guns or penises thing is coming into play, and to say they better not approach me, that's a threat. If I said to somebody, you better not approach me, that's a threat. And another post directly after that. If I saw these freaks approaching my children, I'd assume they were in danger to my children, and if I had the means, I would take them out. So now you've got people endorsing murder because someone has a gun. Like, that is incredibly sick, disgusting, and disturbing to say, well, insult somebody. First of all, you don't know these people, they just have a gun. That's, do you see a police officer and say, he's got a gun, if that police officer approached me and I had the means, I'd take them out? That is horrible. Like, nobody should be able to say, I don't like this machine that person has, so I wish I could kill him. I don't understand that logic at all. And then there's a response to me. I'll read it verbatim what I posted. It said, wow, you disagree with someone's views and results in insulting them and endorsing murder. That's sad. I mean, really? Murder? Disgusting. The response was, I thought that was the very reason you wanted to carry guns, to murder someone who threatens you or your family. If you don't think a perceived threat to yourself or family is justification to murder the people causing the perceived threat, then maybe you need to reevaluate your views on why you want to carry firearms in public. Or does the person carrying the firearm have to be black before I legitimately allowed to perceive them as a threat? I don't understand where the race card comes into that, because I don't care what race people are, and I don't think seeing someone with a gun means they're an imminent threat to myself or my family or loved ones. That's ridiculous. Just like seeing someone driving a car doesn't mean they're going to run me over. If they're swerving around and crashing into things, that's pretty similar to having a loaded rifle at the low ready with your finger on the trigger. That's an entirely different story. It's not the machine that's making the threat. It's the actions of the person using it. You could say that with a baseball bat or a hammer or a shoelace or a tree branch or anything else out there. And then another post was, so you agree that the parents of these children would be justified in blowing away those armed dudes approaching their children? Again, you're endorsing murdering someone because they have a gun? What? That's absurd. Where on earth do these people come from that they think it's okay to murder somebody because they have a different view in something that's legal and in our Constitution? That's crazy. I don't know any pro-gun people that just walk around saying, oh, if these people were anti-gun, I'd just murder them if they came up to my children. No, people will hurl insults and act immature about it and get defensive, but I don't see this group of armed people threatening and justifying and encouraging murder on people. The same as I've read things that say, I wish this open carry thing would result in a mass shooting so we could stop this. You're endorsing mass murder because you don't agree with people carrying guns? That is worse than people carrying guns. You're not, I don't see them going around threatening things, because if they did, it'd be a terroristic threat and they'd have a means to do it and they'd be in jail very fast. The people I've seen open carrying and protesting are all very peaceable. They're friendly, they're not acting belligerent. Police are over there all the time asking them what they're doing, and there hasn't been any problems. There hasn't been any reason to perceive them as a threat. They're just people. They're not criminals or demons or horrible people. I mean, I'm sure there's a few that aren't very good, but they're not doing anything illegal. They're not harming anybody. They might be scaring people because of, their views, but that's the same as, okay, so on one side, we can put it like this. You have one group of people that says people with guns are horrible and they're scaring my family. And you have another group of people that's saying, it's my right, I can do this, I'm not hurting anybody. So, fine, these people can say it's scaring them. You could also say that, we'll flip this around, and this is no reflection of my beliefs, but it's a good argument, I think. You have certain people that say, being gay and gay marriage is disgusting, and this other group of people, and I don't want it around my children, and it's ruining our families in America, and this other group of people that's saying they're not hurting anybody, so what's wrong with it? It's really not very different. You could have somebody that's, arachnophobic. It's if they see a spider in a restaurant, it's not the restaurant's fault there's a spider making them uncomfortable. That's their own insecurities that they should deal with. But at the same time, nobody's, throwing a bunch of spiders on that person and yelling at them. That would be similar if people were, in my opinion, running around pointing these weapons at people and threatening them, and that's simply not the case. So why are these anti-gun folks, and not all of them, but a vocal group of them, why is it okay for them to openly endorse murder and threatening people and violence? Isn't this what they're trying to work against? And they keep claiming a bunch of statistics that are just all messed up. I understand that both sides, anti and pro, are going to skew statistics, but when CNN comes out and says, this group is horribly wrong, the same group run by a guy that wanted to govern how much soda you can drink, that's not right. People need to realize that it's not open carry that's causing problems. It's people with money and political agendas trying to make a problem so they can get their view passed. And you need to look past that and see where the real threats are to our children, to our guns, to everything. Because if you look at a history on mass shootings, the graph is up and down and all over the place. It will rise up and then it will drop off. And it has been. Gun crime is down. Shootings are down. If you look at just the raw FBI statistics, we're making progress. We're not going backwards. And you get a bunch of things saying, oh, there was a school shooting. Well, no, that was, two gang members shooting it out on a university campus. That gets labeled as a school shooting. Someone kills himself, a 50-year-old guy on a school campus, it's a school shooting. Somebody goes in an inner city and kills, a drug dealer, and it's on school property, a university or whatever, that's labeled as a school shooting. And they're using that to act like everything is Sandy Hook or whatever, which is ridiculous. They're saying, oh, everybody with all these automatic weapons. Nobody has all these automatic weapons they keep talking about. Oh, AR-15s, this and that. That's not the issue. Look at the statistics on which guns have actually killed people. And that's such a small number, it's statistically insignificant. So, sure, I want to make schools a safer place and get rid of gun violence. But we look at the states and cities, Chicago, LA, Detroit, New York, that have the biggest problems with it, and they all have heavy gun control. So obviously that's not solving anything. Why don't they start enforcing people rejected on the NICS check? Why don't they go looking for them? Why don't we get a better mental health care system in our country that doesn't justify people with mental illness as demons, but instead we try to help them out? Why don't we look at things to build our communities and make people feel less isolated? Why don't we look at if people really need all these prescription drugs they're getting? There's so many things we could do to help that nobody is. Why is it normal for someone not to hold the door open and just let it shut on the person behind them? Why don't we have this community anymore? Why can't we go to our neighbors and borrow sugar and eggs, or invite our neighbors over to dinner with us? There's all these things that I grew up with, 30 years ago, that have fallen apart. This sense of community that we've seemed to lost, and I think that has a big part to play in this, and this anonymous nature behind the internet, that people will go out and make threats and condone murder and are not responsible for it. That's absurd. People should be responsible for the things they say. And I honestly believe that if you've got someone posting all over the place that these people should be killed, if I had the means to kill them, I would, this, that, and the other, we should probably look at having those people arrested for terroristic threats. But instead, somehow, law-abiding citizens that don't hurt anybody, that follow the law, that shoot for sport or recreation or hunting, are now the terrorists, are now the bad people. And they're all automatic right-wing extremists. Not everybody that owns a gun is a right-wing extremist, and I bet the majority of them are not far right-wing. But you have this issue where people get pushed into a category because they get, ostracized from another group. That's not a good thing either. That promotes this us versus them mentality, which is not right. We need to see everybody as fellow Americans and respect that they have different political views and fight to change it through the legal system, not be manipulative and threatening and hostile towards people and endorsing murder. That's absolutely sickening. So I really ask, people that are pro-gun, try to take a mature stance on this. Don't resort to insulting people. Direct them to the facts. Try to, take people shooting and show them that this can be a beneficial and fun and responsible thing to do. And people on the anti-gun side of the things, while I don't agree with your views, I respect that you can have those views. And please don't resort to insulting people and condoning murder and saying if you had the means to take out people, then you would. That's disgusting, and it's not right, and I don't know how these people can sleep with themselves at night, or rather sleep at night. Maybe they do sleep with themselves too. That's kind of weird, but why can't we be civil towards fellow Americans? Why must we insist on, if someone has a different political view, we're going to demonize them and say it's an us versus them thing? That's going to divide the country. It's going to weaken communities further, and it's going to cause, unrest in the country over something that is so ridiculous and started by people having political agendas and manipulating the masses to believe what they want, instead of looking at raw facts and making opinions and judgments on themselves. And to get further into it, I'll sum this up real quick. A lot of these people don't understand guns. They don't understand the law. They don't understand the responsibility behind them. They don't understand the manipulation and function of the weapon. They don't understand any of this, but yet somehow they think that they're fine to just go off and make these laws and statements. Now, I don't know, what don't I know a lot about? I don't know about traveling to the moon. Now, I'm not going to tell someone how to build a rocket ship to travel to the moon or what they should and shouldn't use, because I don't know about rocket ships that go to the moon. And it's the same thing. If you really want to get on the anti-gun side of things, educate yourself. Go shooting. Use AR-15s. Learn how to take them apart and put them back together. Look at actual statistics. Get your CHL and carry. How about this? Don't carry it loaded. Take out the firing pin so it can't be used. Just kind of go through life and realize that it's not that big a deal. People see a gun and they're like, oh my God, it's a threat. Everybody's going to die. We should kill them. But they don't know that there's a ton of people around them carrying concealed. And, no criminal is just going to walk around and draw attention to themselves open carrying stuff. That's ridiculous. It's the same argument against open carry that the pro-gun people use, because it's not a viable tactical option to open carry. It makes you a target. So, agree or disagree, but realize that people are following the law, and to endorse murdering them because you don't agree with their beliefs is horrible and sickening, and you people should be ashamed of yourselves.